Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me here at Unapologetically Progressive. Now, in this video, we're going to talk about something that we usually wouldn't discuss here, but we're going to anyway, because I think it's something that we need to talk about, and I think it's a good discussion to have, and I think in the comments we could end up with some decent conversations back and forth with people. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, everyone's going to have their opinion on this. I'm sure a lot of people that are going to see this video, even people that watch my videos frequently, may have a problem with my take on this particular subject. Now, I'm just basing this off of everything I've heard over the years, from ever since I was a kid till now. But that's where my opinion on this particular topic comes from. So, down in Texas, they are passing a bill. They passed it through their state house, they're moving it to their state senate, and it would be a complete ban on social media for anyone under the age of 18. Now, I know a lot of people that support this idea. I think it's an absolutely terrible idea, honestly, because I believe if the government is able to start telling you what you can allow your kids to do or say, or what they can watch, what apps they can use, I believe they can also tell you other things that you're not allowed to do. Right? We already know that the government has tried to steal rights away from people. People talk all the time about parental responsibility and parental rights. Now, I am not a parent, but I remember being growing up in the 80s and people telling me that TV was rotting my brain, and hearing the news when I got older that TV and video games were rotting my brains. And then when the computers started getting popular, oh my God, TV, computer, and video games are, computers and video games are rotting your brain. Every single time there's an advance in technology, people are telling me and telling the world that this is rotting the brains of children. At the end of the day, though, I believe this is a parental issue, not a governmental issue. I believe parents should be the ones telling their kids what they can and can't do. For example, on this page, we've discussed in the past, I've discussed at length about how I believe parents should accept their children, even, that are LGBTQ. Even if that goes against their religion, I still believe they should. But I also, at the same time, do not believe the government should compel them to do that. In this particular case, I do not believe the government should be compelling parents to allow or not allow their child to use particular apps. I think there are some solutions that we could put forward here that would be better than a ban. For example, you can make more limits to what could be accessible to children in these apps. Right? You can make there be more of a punishment if parents allow their kids on the app, say, before, right now, the standard age for social media is 13. Well, if parents are putting their kids, if something happens and their kids end up in danger and in a bad situation with a predator or something, then that should fall back on the parent if they're letting their kids be on at an age younger, right? Then it's already, considered to be the right age, which is 13. I personally would see bumping it to 15. I could see that being okay because it's easier to protect kids from predators. I get that, right? That would be something I could support. But an outright ban telling parents that they can't allow their kids to use this until they're 18, I think is a little much. I think it's a little bit of government overreach, right? And I understand all the arguments that people are telling me. Oh, it's different than it was. It's not like TV. It's always on, blah, blah, blah. Well, TV is always on now, too. Right? The news is a 24-hour news cycle. People see it, kids see that too, on the regular TV. Right? But what's next? They're going to start telling you what you can allow your kids to watch? Well, they're going to start telling you, oh, kids under the age of 18 can't watch Netflix? Is that next? Right? Is that going to be something that the government would be looking forward to doing? I wouldn't support that. And I don't support this. At the end of the day, parents have to be parents. Right? Like, there's a lot of things as I was growing up that I thought was ridiculous. When they started putting, you know, parental advisory labels on music, for example. Like, who cares? It's just music, right? I don't believe in censorship like that. That's not something I support. I never have. I will never support censorship. And then this, to me, is no different, right? And to me, this is them telling younger people that, hey, we don't want you involved in the world. We don't want you knowing what we're doing, right? This is them telling them, like, don't, they want them off of TikTok. They want them off of YouTube. They want them off Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff, right? But I believe there should be limits that parents place on their children. And I believe there should be plenty of options for parents to prevent their kids from having excessive screen time and excessive time on certain apps, right? Like, I remember growing up, we got our first computer in like 92 or 93. It was a compact Pisario. But because my mom was concerned about the effects of having all this information and all this access to things that could be bad for me, she limited how often I could be on the computer. Like, I couldn't be in the computer, we couldn't have the computer in a place that wasn't public, that wasn't available to everybody in the house. I couldn't have a computer in my bedroom. I couldn't be on chat rooms when she wasn't home, right? And things like that. All that stuff that I couldn't do, right? I wasn't supposed to be on the internet. I wasn't supposed to be on it when I wasn't allowed, when we were doing certain things with family, things like that. There was certain things put in place to say, hey, there are limits to this. I don't see TikTok or Twitter or Facebook or anything else any different than that. I do believe there are some other solutions for some of these apps, though, like either within the app or make an entirely separate app, like, say, Facebook for kids. They have Facebook accounts that are just for kids that only their parents can get into, that other adults can't be a part of, right? And I support those kind of measures. I support anything that can keep children safe from predators, right? And I do believe there should be very extensive penalties for adults that try to attack children in any way via the internet or in person or whatever, right? At the end of the day, though, is this not a parental issue? Is this something that the government should fix, or is it something that, you know, the parents should be fixing? Now, many people are going to disagree with me on this, and I'm sure a lot of you will, and I'm perfectly fine with that. This is just me putting my opinion out there about this particular topic because to me it's a slippery slope, right? If you start letting them tell you what you can give your kids to watch, what apps they can use, or anything like that, then pretty soon they're going to start telling you directly as a parent what books your kids can read, what TV shows, what streaming services your kids can use. But how about instead of banning it, we put more safeguards in place for kids, right? I can understand increasing the age to like 15 for social media. And there are a few reasons for that, okay? When you're 14, 15 years old, by the time you get to college or get to high school, that is, a lot of your organizations function through social media, right? I've seen volleyball teams, baseball teams, football teams from the old, from parents, people that are friends of mine that are parents. How their kids, communicate within a team. You know, on exactly when practices are, what you're working on, what you need to be working on at home, things like that. Right? Group chats and things like that for family, so they know what's going on with their family. I don't support banning that. I think there should be limits for sure. We should always want to, err on the side of caution and protect kids. But we can't protect every single kid all the time. Is that not what they tell us down in Texas? What happened in Texas in 2022? It's been about 3 years. Nothing is, they haven't done anything for that. They haven't done anything about what happened in Uvalde, Texas. Not one law passed. Nothing has been done to help stop the next one. In fact, there have been others since. But they're worried about what your kids are doing on social media. And I think that tells you a lot. It tells you that it's not about protecting the kids, it's about controlling the lives of parents and telling parents what they can and can't do and what they can and cannot allow their kids to do. That's just my opinion. Let me know in the comments what you think on this particular idea of banning social media for anyone under the age of 18. And give me your reasons why you think it's a good idea to ban it, or why you think it's a bad idea to ban it. And give me solutions if you are one of the people like me who do not support the idea of banning it. Maybe give some solutions to what you think we could do to better protect children on social media without banning it outright. All right, thanks for watching.